The media, thank you. You can leave now.
President, are you considering a limited military strike?
I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. I've seen a smile on your face.
I'm asking you about survivors.
You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth.
Buckle up, because the next 3 days are going to be absolutely wild. Now that the United States stock market is no longer open because it's the weekend, the market is closed until Monday, I think you're going to see a really big uptick in military action. Historically, that's usually when this type of stuff happens. And we're going to take a look at the evidence that backs up the fact that probably something is going to happen even in the next 24 hours. Also, President Trump literally kicks out some reporters that are trying to ask him some questions because they're inappropriately doing it. They're yelling at him, they're barking at him, they're heckling him, and he's just not going to tolerate that. So there's a lot of funny stuff in this video. There's a lot of very serious stuff in this video. I do hope you stick around for the full thing. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the fact that U.S. troops are now receiving menus which include steak, pie, crab leg, and lobster. If you know, you know. This could mean absolutely nothing, or it could mean that military action is basically right on the horizon. Then you've got a lot of Iran updates, starting off with this video.
People in Iran or people here?
People in Iran.
They better negotiate a fair deal. You know, the people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very, very sad.
It is a very sad situation. Thousands, tens of thousands of people in Iran have been killed by the disgusting regime. So Trump there, to quote him, said, "I feel very bad for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell." Then the U.S. has not evacuated troops from key bases in the Middle East, despite the claims by major media outlets, a senior official has said. Breaking, Iran's Gulf neighbors and Israel are now considering a conflict to be more likely than a settlement, according to multiple sources from Reuters. Two Israeli officials told Reuters that they believe the gaps between Washington and Tehran are unbridgeable and that the chances of a near-term military escalation are very high. Regional officials say Tehran is dangerously miscalculating by holding out for concessions. Then you have the U.S. military buildup is enough to sustain a week-long air campaign against Iran and has echoes of the military movements in the lead up to the 2003 invasion of Iraq. And there's actually breakdowns of how much military resources are currently in the Middle East. The U.S. has now assembled its largest military force in the Middle East since 2003 Iraq invasion. 2 aircraft carriers, 12 warships, hundreds of fighter jets, multiple air defense systems, 150 plus U.S. military cargo flights, another 50 plus fighter jets in 48 hours. And the jets include F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s. In addition to all that, oil prices are up to a fresh 6-month high. And here is an even more detailed chart that shows every single military piece of equipment that is currently in the Middle East. Feel free to screenshot this and zoom in on your own time, but we aren't going to go through that right now. We are going to continue with the fact that gold has now reclaimed $5,100, which is, a really big sign of uncertainty and a little bit of instability, I suppose. Somebody also came up with this animation here that depicts a bunch of countries, the United States and surrounding countries, its allies, helping with a strike on Iran. So you see here Kuwait, United Emirates, and then the aircraft carriers out on the water. Great Britain or the UK has a warship there as well. France chiming in. United States bombers, right? Like, this is literally what it could look like. It could be a very quick weekend event with, an entire sweep of the regime, or it could be something that's sustained for a little bit longer, but I don't think it'll be sustained for years. I think that we're going to see something that's pretty swift and something that takes place, for what I would assume no more than a couple of weeks. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. How long do you think this military action is going to take place? Do you think it's going to be something swift within a couple weeks, or do you think it's going to take longer than a couple weeks? I look forward to reading the comments on that one.
If we're not going to go back
to pre-2002 in looking at how these agencies used to operate without this level of brutality that we are seeing, then we need to figure out a different system.
When we get power back, we have to dismantle them. And we can go back to immigration enforcement as a civil system, because that's what it is.
What do you make of that?
Well, I'm sure Omar would love for ICE to go away, right? Because she has her own issues.
Right.
But bottom line is, you know, think about this. Members of Congress want to abolish the Department of Homeland Security that was established after the tragedy 9/11, right? And they want to abolish the agency that enforces the laws that they wrote, right? But they want to attack ICE and call them racists and Nazis and the secret police. Well, if we're the Nazis for enforcing the immigration law, what's that make them? They wrote the law. So look, we're doing the same thing we've done for 40 years. I started in 1984. We're enforcing the immigration law. Problem is, for the last 4 years, they weren't enforcing the immigration law. Every one of them are complicit because they didn't say anything about the open border. Over 10 million people illegally cross that border. We got over, 2 million known gotaways. We got a record number of terrorists and criminals coming across that border, a record number of sex trafficking of women and children. Enough fentanyl to kill 250,000 Americans. Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey, and where were they? They weren't saying a word. They're complicit. We're fixing what they broke.
That's exactly it. And I mean, you have to protect your borders. You have to be able to tighten things up. The left is just doing this weird purity test right now, and they're throwing these hissy fits. But the reality is everyone wants to live in a safe environment. And especially those who are, you know, citizens of that country deserve to live in a safe America. Then you've got members of the Somali community in Minnesota that are demanding some form of a financial compensation due to how traumatizing it was to deal with ICE.
Leave program fits into our criteria of small business owners, not those who make 200,000 and above. We don't make that much amount, and we have been suffering since the crisis of ICE. We also demand an immediate help to evictions so families are not pushed to homelessness during the crisis. Our community deserves accountability. Our community deserves safety. We need also justice for those who lost their lives defending the community.
Lost their lives defending the community. That's a weird way of saying attacking federal agents in the middle of conducting their investigations, but okay.
The media, thank you. You can leave now.
President, are you considering a limited military strike to pressure Iran into a deal?
Thank you, press. Keep moving. Thank you.
Are you considering a limited strike, sir?
Thank you, press. Thank you. Thank you, press.
You are considering that? How seriously are you considering that, sir?
Have you talked to the governor about the press?
We're exiting out this morning.
When will you be making that decision, sir?
Thank you, press.
Who's that person? Are you considering
Thank you, press. Thank you.
Man, that is crazy as a member of the press, disrespecting the president of the United States to his face. Wow, media actually got kicked out. That's pretty funny.
No, please.
Do you regret appointing
I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Not only is CNN fake news, but it's also filled with a bunch of people that apparently never know how to smile. Do you remember this clip of President Trump to her face telling a CNN reporter, "I never see you smile"?
I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say?
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face.
I'm asking you about survivors.
You know why? You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth. And you're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
Thank you, press. Thank you. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Keep moving. Thank you.
How can you not love this? The media deserves, like, if you're a shitty media, if you're a shitty reporter, you frankly deserve to be treated the way that you're trying to treat the president of the United States, if not worse, right? I mean, you're there to do your nation a service by asking questions and being honest and searching for the truth, not manipulating headlines, not trying to paint President Trump bad for the sake of your own bias. Like, just show the objective truth and stop being such an asshole. And maybe there wouldn't be this problem. But since CNN is full of assholes, they get treated as such. Don't forget, though, it's CNN that started it.
The abolishment of the 287G program is not the abolishment of ICE. They're going nowhere. In fact, they're going to intensify their efforts. We warned them this was going to happen, and it's going to happen.
A warning on Wednesday issued by sheriffs from the 9 Maryland counties forced to end active partnerships with ICE under a new state law.
Hell no, that's not going to happen. ICE is going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to deport the illegals, and the streets in the United States are going to be made safe once again.
Mask is a non-starter. You know, threats against ICE officers are up over 8,000%. And not just the officers, their families, their wives, and the kids. You know, the last threat I got was to kill my wife and children. So I'd suffer the rest of my life. And, you know, they can dox me all they want. I'm the board.
Doing the same thing to Lyons and his family.
Exactly. Going after their families. But as far as, you know, racial profiling, that's a bunch of crap. We don't racial profile. When we detain somebody and question somebody for a short period of time, we need reasonable suspicion, which is built on
the legal standard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're doing. But people say, well, the Supreme Court allows you to racial profile. That's not what the Supreme Court said. They said we're doing things legally because we have that standard of reasonable suspicion. And once you start questioning them, if you can gather probable cause, then we'll place them under arrest. But look, they want to shut down ICE. To require a warrant to arrest an illegal alien, they need to read the statute that they wrote. Again, there's nothing in the immigration law that requires a judicial warrant to arrest an illegal alien.
There you go. I mean, if you're illegal every single day that you're there breaking the law, you're committing a crime. It's not just a one-time offense of entering illegally. It's actually staying there illegally. It doesn't even matter if you set up a life, if you have wife and kids, whatever. It's an ongoing issue, right? And it kind of dilutes the immigration process. It incentivizes people, as we've seen in the recent years, to just commit crimes and be criminals and break in illegally. And that's not fair to those that go through the steps of going into the United States legally and that actually follow the laws. But that is the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think Iran and the United States are going to get into it this weekend? Let me know what you guys think. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.